So, welcome everybody to Debilitated and Excel series. We're down to the wire, and today we're going to be doing Jupiter and what happens when Jupiter is debilitated. So, what happens when Jupiter is debilitated in your horoscope? And Jupiter is debilitated in the sign of Capricorn. Why is that? Have you ever thought about it logically? Well, 10th house represents jungle. 10th house is not a war zone like the 6th house, but 10th house is the jungle, meaning that everything is running wild. Everything is running wild and everybody's fighting for their status. Everybody's trying to get to the top of the food chain. This is why 10th house is known as the house of status. Okay? So in the jungle, when Jupiter comes in, Jupiter is what? Jupiter is a teacher. Jupiter is known as guru, wisdom. So a teacher in the middle of a jungle, how long do you think this person will survive? And Jupiter represents optimism. Okay? So Jupiter gives this hope in your horoscope. And in jungle, there isn't much hope. And in jungle, there isn't much wisdom to give out or to receive. Okay, that's a very basic and easiest way to understand Jupiter debilitation. So when Jupiter comes into the sign of Capricorn, first of all, what happens is, which is actually a good thing, these people are very disciplined people. Like when they take on a task, they take on it with full concentration. Whether it's work, school, hobby, even marriage, they are very disciplined about it. However, what happens is with the hope factor with Jupiter debilitation, they're overly optimistic. Meaning that when things are going good, they're really hopeful about the future. They're like, oh yes, more is gonna come in. They become kind of egoistic. Like, oh, look at this. I got money coming in. Everything is fine. It's just going to get better. I'm going to get even more money from here, and I'm going to get more money from even there, even though they do not know how is that exactly going to happen. But they just think that, I'm just going to fall, and somehow, some way, I'm not going to break any bones, and everything will be all right. But what happens is they do break their bones. What happens is they do lose their opportunity. So Jupiter debilitation, what it shows, it gives you whatever it's representing, which is wealth, hope, optimism, education, resource from the education, and then it takes it all away. That's what Jupiter does. So it gives wealth, it will suddenly take it away, and you'll be left like, how did I end up here? How did I end up from a 10-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom apartment? Okay, and Jupiter in the sign of Capricorn, especially for female, can actually result in a second marriage. Because when Jupiter is debilitated, Jupiter represents husband in a female's chart. And so husband will be of low morals. Because Jupiter also represents morals because of the 9th house. It's a significator of the 9th house. So when Jupiter is debilitated, a woman might get a person with a low morals and somebody who is, who may cheat, who may commit violence on her. Everything that this woman was hoping for as an image of a husband will suddenly be completely opposite of it. And Jupiter is kind of a significator of the second marriage. Obviously second house is a second marriage, but Jupiter that also represents, when it's debilitated, second marriage, and the second husband would be far more orderly and disciplined compared to the first husband. And Jupiter is responsible for finances as well, okay, along with Saturn. So in here, what Jupiter does, Jupiter is at its lowest form of morals. And what happens with these people, they can become scam artists regarding money. They can be caught up in money laundering. Okay. However, as much as these people can cheat other people, if Jupiter is receiving a Neech Bhang Raj Yoga, along with the help of Saturn or with Moon, especially Saturn, their over-optimism will actually be accomplished. They're overly oversized appetite for fulfilling their own hopes and wishes will actually come true with a niche bhang. And this is actually one of the most important niche bhangs. This and Mercury are two most important niche bhangs that you can have, and they will actually take you to absolutely new heights. But Jupiter in Capricorn, the very first thing when I see Jupiter in Capricorn, I see law. I see Jupiter, who's a teacher, and Capricorn, that represents law and order and following the law. Jupiter actually does very well in certain houses following the law, especially the 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th, and 10th. Here, Jupiter, you can easily see somebody who could be a lawyer, who could be a judge, okay? But of course, they could be the people who could, still gain something and lose something unless there's a niche bhang occurring. So they will become an attorney, but what could happen if Jupiter is not having a support of a niche bhang, they'll suddenly lose that power. They will lose their license, bar license. They will do some sort of malpractice where suddenly they cannot practice law, or there'll be a lot of struggle for them to practice law. And usually the time when people who have debilitated Jupiter are in a danger of losing whatever Jupiter has given them, which is wealth, husband, anything, knowledge, gain through knowledge, it can all be taken away if Jupiter is debilitated, transiting on a yearly cycle. So if you have debilitated Jupiter in the birth horoscope, and Jupiter that year is debilitated as well, and as soon as it goes over to the exact degree of your birth Jupiter, look at it, go back in your time if you have this. See what had happened right when it went through that 1 or 2 degrees of space. Something would have happened where it triggered either loss of reputation, loss of finances, okay? So check that out. So guys, this was my analysis on Jupiter debilitation. I'll be back with Jupiter exaltation tomorrow. If you're new to my channel, subscribe above. And if you want to know more about this stuff and the secret knowledge of Vedic astrology, check out my link below and check out my articles there and my book, Astrology the Speed of Light. And once you get the book, follow the instruction on my website. I will send you the link to look at your own chart, but make sure you follow the directions. All right, otherwise your email will be lost. So see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.